This lesson is called Straw as a Blanket for Plants. Our goal here is to engage the children in some of the caretaking tasks for the garden. One, so that they can just have that different experience, and also to instill a sense of ownership and a knowledge that they can care for things and care for their spaces. So this activity will come after you've either planted seeds or plants in the ground. And so what we're going to do with the straw from a gardening perspective is we're going to be reducing our workload by trapping in moisture and by reducing the chances that weeds will be competing with our vegetables. So when you do this activity with the children, which doesn't necessarily need to be on the same day that you have planted seeds or plants, but it should be within a few days, is first you will ask them whether or not they have a favorite blanket at home, or maybe their brother or sister has a blankie that they love, and ask them to describe how it makes them feel to have their blanket and what they like about their blanket. And after they've talked about that for a few moments, you can tell them that straw can be a blanket for our plants, and ask for their ideas about why plants might need a blanket. So they're likely to come up with ideas such as the blankets can keep the plants warm. They may talk about the blankets making the plants feel safe if their blanket makes them feel safe. So let them talk about that for a moment, and then you can also explain that the straw does keep our plants warm, especially at the very beginning of spring and very end of fall, but also that the straw protects our plants. It protects it by keeping water in the ground so our plants don't get thirsty, and it protects it by keeping our plants from getting sick from things that might be in the soil. So after you've explained that, you can hand out gloves if you want the children to use them. It's not necessary, and there's nothing dangerous about straw, and they'll be washing their hands before they eat anyway. But invite them to feel the straw, pull a little bit off, pass it around. They can hear what it sounds like, they can feel it, they can smell it if they want, really anything except for tasting, just so they can be familiar with this new and interesting material. And then you'll have maybe 2 or 3 of them at a time helping you to spread the straw on the ground. If you want to just do this activity, 2 or 3 kids rotating through at once, that's a great way to make sure you don't have too many wanting to help, or you can use gloves to mark who is and isn't allowed to help right now. So if you just have 2 pairs of gloves, if you have the gloves, it's your turn. If you don't have the gloves, you need to wait. So just choose whatever area you want that group of children to cover, and at the end of the day, we want 1 inch or 2 of straw over everything. Right now, just getting something on the ground is great, and if you want, you can also have them use this plastic children's rig to move the straw around, and that uses some gross motor coordination, as well as introducing a tool they may not be familiar with. And the straw can look messy and chaotic when the children are done with it, but you may want someone to come back through and check at the end of the day when it's all done that there aren't any gaps and that everything is well covered. If you want to do a science expansion with this, you could choose to leave 1 row or 1 section without straw on it, and ask the children, based on what you described that the straw does, ask them to predict what will happen in that spot. Do they think it'll be more dry or less dry? Do they think the seeds will grow better or less well? And you can come and check on it for a few weeks to see if there's a difference between what happens in the area without the straw and the area with straw. But again, that's an expansion that is totally up to you whether or not you include it as part of your lesson.